Hello grapplers and welcome to a new video. Today I have a few things to talk about. First of all, the Street Fighter League US ended just a few days ago. Now we have more or less a schedule for the rest of the year for Capcom Cup 12. Mena used Zangief against Punk. Basically what we're gonna talk today is something that could affect the groups later, or the way we see Zangief at the highest level. This was a fight that was very complicated during the first time they fought. The later one was more balanced, but still felt like, even though the score was 3-2, Punk was really knowledgeable in that fight. And he knew what to do, especially in the clutch situations, because the last round of the fight was all Punk. We're going to take a look at a bunch of situations that happened during the fight, and how to avoid them if you play Zangief. You get the SPD, drive rush, knee. And the knee whiffed. There's a little bit of difference in timing if you get medium SPD, heavy, or OD compared to light. As you guys know already, this is plus 30. And all the other ones are plus 28. If you do it immediately like this, you'll see that I whiff. What you need to do is let go of the drive rush a little bit late. So, like this. Drive rush, whoop, and then you go for the knee. If they wake up with buttons, they can stop the knee. So you have to be extremely careful with that knee. As you saw earlier, that knee could be between plus 2, plus 3. So that means if you do get that knee, SPD for the reset, or try to go into crouching light kick, crouching light punch if they block it. Hell stab. And then lariat. My recommendation is always checking what the opponent wants to do first by just stopping here. Or if you really need damage, most people will perfect parry, so you can just drive rush and delay the light SPD a little bit. You let go, and then you go for SPD. So waking up with parry is very important against Zangief in that scenario. You might be thinking why? Because you can parry the standing medium punch, standing medium kick, crouching medium kick, and sweep. Almost every single option is covered. And if you do drive rush after SPD and you hit standing medium punch or crouching medium kick, the range is not the best. So you're gonna be here, sure, plus, but this doesn't mean much. This is an issue with Zangief that is very freaking common. He neutral jumped and used 4 lights. Then a standing medium punch, and he got the W. What do I do if I get something like this? Or an empty jump? Let's start by the obvious. If you're point blank, crouching light punch, standing light punch, lariat connects. Even if they're crouching. So this is a combo. And it's probably gonna be the best combo if you're point blank, like Mena was in that interaction. What happens if you do get 4 lights, like he did? Here you're gonna be plus 6. And this is only to stop a button. For some reason, you absolutely need to stop a jump, or you feel they're gonna jump. Your best option might be just because this is 10 frames. And this is plus 6, so if you do get something like this, that is not a bad call. On hit, on block, this can be interrupted. So if you do manage to hit someone with 4 lights, standing medium kick is better, or even 3 lights, than standing medium punch, just because of the range, because they might want to backdash. The other thing that you can do with Zangief is get 3 lights, at best 3 lights, and go for lighter SPD. This is a little bit risky, because obviously it is a reset, in the same way that standing medium kick is a reset, but this obviously loses to jumps, backdashes, and also reversals. So you do have to be very wary of what the opponent wants to do. I've seen some Zangief players try to go for a couple of lights and then headbutt. That is not a bad thing, but that you're leaving a huge gap between all of this. And if you get 4 lights, your headbutt will whiff. The thing he did at the end is a reactionary standing heavy punch against the eye. One is just roll the eyeing, you have enough time to react. The armor starts at frame 4, so doing this is not a bad call for a roll the eye or a light into the eye. Even a medium into the eye on block. This was a weird sequence overall. Let's watch it.
Level 1 attacks 2.
Knee. Neutral jump.
You
And then he started back walking.
No, level 1's the anti-air right there.
He lost his round, by the way. If you have the opponent cornered, walking back, giving space is a bad thing to do with Zangief. For several reasons. First of all, this you might know already this. This is not new. But if you want to recover drive meter fast, walking back slows your meter recovery. Jumping does the same thing. You recover slowly. So if you really need to recover meter, you need to hit the opponent. headbutt or standing heavy punch on block, or try to go for SPD and then you recover meter. You can even go for Spine Buster if you can, and maybe loop the Spine Buster to get a couple of meters back. Or of course you can do this, or even just dash. All the things you can do with Spine Buster. This was a weird Oki. I'm gonna show you something strange. Mena was in burnout.
Move that side switch. No, we go for the dash up heavy kick. It's the
Let me see. I think you're gonna be around plus 12. You have 12 frames. Your best option, just in terms of frames, is headbutt. In fact, he tried to go for headbutt layers and Punk reacted with DP. You have to delay a lot the SPD if you want to connect. And this is an Oki that a lot of people did during Season 1, but this is completely overshadowed by other sequences. If you are in burnout and you want to go for Oki, you can do this. And you'll see that I'm plus 7, but very close to them. You only need to delay for a few frames the SPD, or you can go into a light and then SPD. Or you can delay the SPD as I mentioned. And you're plus 7. So you technically have a health stab if you really want to go for it, or a couple of lights, and you're still gonna be in range for SPD. This obviously has some issues. The opponent can just wake up with parry and beat the jumping attack you want or react. It's a 50-50. Other Zangief players prefer to go for charge drop kicks, something like this. Or you can just end the combo and dash afterwards, which is not, again, not the best. You're gonna be plus 10. And also, very important, if they for some reason recover in place, which would be kind of strange, but they can. Yeah, if they do recover in place, you'll see that if you do this, you end on the other sides. This is what I mentioned before. You can get a few lights. Boom, boom, boom. 3 lights. And he went for a standing medium punch.
Trying to time that out.
That was a beautiful sweep.
Let's get the sweep though. The headbutt delays
Headbutt, and then he went into super level 2.
Get ready.
Overall, this is a good sequence for Zangief. You got a sweep, which is very good, especially a punish counter sweep. Here you have a lot of options. I already have videos for sweep and Oki. And he continued the pressure very, very cleanly with headbutt. This is something that, even though it's not real, you have to do it sometimes just because the drive meter you take is huge. And if the opponent is scared of you, of course you need to continue with the pressure.
He gonna jump. You right. You got that kick. Oh, with the ears right there this time, Mena. So go for that super SP.
This is a classic situation for Zangief. You'll see that he went for, first of all, standing light kick, which is a thing you can do. If you do hit someone here, ideally you need to drive rush seal because this range does not work that well for Zangief. So he drive rushed into crouching medium kick. He's plus here, plus 2. And then he tried to go for ODSPD. By the way, at this point in the match, Punk was almost escaping every single SPD. This is a very significant issue for a lot of Zangief players, especially when people block. Usually what happens with Zangief is that if you use standing light kick or standing light punch, for example, and you go into a DRC, you want to do the reset. This makes a lot of sense because you're recovering at least one of the meters you use for the DRC. The more time passes, the more I think this is gonna get us killed. Because even though you get 3,300 because you get heavy SPD, you still need to drive rush. So essentially, you use still 3 meters because you need to continue the pressure. And this comes back to what we mentioned before. What do you do after drive rushing? So if something like this happens, you go for knee, for example, and your knee gets stuffed or you whiff it, you will get punish counter here, so you're essentially losing even more meter. My recommendation overall is that if you really want to throw someone and you're close, get used to just using Spine Buster. Get used to this. You don't recover that much meter, but you're closer, and the Oki of Spine Buster, as you guys know already, is pretty good, so you can just go for this. Always a 50-50, so you don't know. If the opponent is low on health, it is more possible for them to react with a reversal, super, or whatever to the SPD, because they know the damage you're going to do with SPD is enough to kill them. In those cases, you need to be more cheeky with your SPDs. Either go for something like this, which is a true block string, gapless drive rush, and then from here going, I don't know, into health stuff if you think they're going to jump, or just SPD right away, or just don't DRC in the first place. If you want to commit to something, just commit to SPD then, rather than trying to force something like this that you're gonna be in burnout the rest of the fight. It's very dangerous for Zangief to be in burnout, so you actively want to avoid it. You absolutely need to close the round. Just wait. That Kami, Punk was, I think, at 15% of life. Mena had like 75. Do you really need to risk it all for one OD SPD? You need to be patient. And sometimes that even kills you, to be honest. But it's something you need to do with this character. Going to the offensive very likely will take you into burnout. Those mistakes or decisions happen every time. It has happened to me that I go for something like this. And then I'm like, okay, what do I do here? That is one of the issues that Zangief has. He doesn't combo from 2 lights or 3 lights into anything. Think of these 3 first meters as your go-to drive rush. That means if you do need to drive rush, you need to DRC, you need to do something, always do it if you have 6 drive meters and you need to use these 3. Over here and you use those drive meters, then absolutely do not do anything drive rush related until you recover at least 4. Zangief does not have good defense without drive meters, so that's something you need to do. SPD is almost always the right call, especially if they're blocking. If you get something on hit, again, Headbutt, Hell's Up Lariat recovers a lot of meter. I don't think he's gonna play Zangief in the future or during Capcom Cup. And that's something we're gonna briefly take a look. This is the second part of the video. These are the groups for Capcom Cup. Itabashi has a really complicated fight here because there's Takamura. This is gonna be Akuma, Hot Dog, Bison. Phenom has a Kami, also a Bison, and Punk, Kami. Kami is not impossible for Zangief, but it's a very rush-down heavy matchup, and Zangief doesn't have the best defense. Do I think Itabashi is going to use Zangief for the whole group? No. Probably he's going to use Zangief against Salvatore and Hot Dog, maybe against Takamura, but Phenom and Punk, I think he will bring at some point the Marisa. Zangief, even though we all love the character, he's not a consistent character enough to get you out of Group A. What about Group C? There's another Zangief player here. Halliwell knows how to play Zangief. He also uses Akuma, and I'm not sure, Yavin, what kind of characters he uses. Zangief will always gonna use Zangief, for sure. But this is a very tough group to be in. Don't know if he can beat Kakeru or Halliwell. And Dual Kevin and Tokido probably gonna win also. This is not a good group. He will keep playing Zangief. He doesn't have another character. He plays sometimes Bison. I do not think he's gonna use any other character. And this is not a good thing. If you're gonna go into a very big tournament where there's $1 million on the line, you need to play different characters or have at least a secondary that's as strong as your Zangief. I absolutely do not think he's gonna use Zangief here. If he uses Zangief, it's gonna be against Limestone. Against Chrissy CH, Fudo, or Diver, all of them use Ed. That's not a good matchup for Zangief. It's a very easy matchup for Ed, to be honest. And Mr. Crimson, you have a Dalsim player. So this is basically the do not use Zangief group. And the final thing is that we got a few... Oh, my face is covering this. Let me... Boop. This is more or less the offlines for 2025 this year. I'm not happy necessarily with the tournaments they have selected. In a way, I feel this is a very Evo focused. Makes the regular Evo less of an interesting thing because since the big prize of winning Evo is going to Capcom Cup because the money is not necessarily that huge, you might as well just go to Evo France. If you're in Europe, why would you go to regular Evo if you can go to Evo France and just win this thing and qualify? Of course, we need all the details, but 8 players are going to qualify from offlines. 4 players that win the Street Fighter League are going to qualify for Capcom Cup 12. I think Brian F mentioned this, but I do feel the World Warriors are going to be reduced somehow. Maybe the Super Regions are going to disappear. We'll see what happens with the World Warriors. Basically, some players, World Warriors is the only way to qualify for Capcom Cup, so we'll see. I'm gonna end this video on a kind of sad note. People know how to play against Zangief at the highest level. So if you are a Zangief only player, that is basically not a good thing. Now, if you're learning Zangief and you're going through, for example, Platinum, Diamond, you can still make it. You can definitely get to, if you put enough time, to get into 1900, 2000 MR. It's gonna happen. With time, it's gonna happen. But the thing is, for tournament play, where people are more prepared, it's very difficult to win with Zangief. People thinking this character is broken, I think they're living a lie. Or they're just spreading false information at this point. Because this character is strong. But what is strong about this character is this. And Super Level 3. That is objectively very strong. Everything else is just mediocre at best. But we kinda like the guy. So we make it work. I still play Zangief. I don't mind. You can go to the Saverio Live Discord. We can discuss several things. Twitch.tv/SaverioLive. Subscribe if you want. That's gonna be lovely. I do want to make more videos. I've been very busy with normal life, but I do want to make more videos for you. Take care of yourselves. Keep playing grapplers. Hydrate. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.